Hi, this is Arun Jacob, your friendly and frank licensed New Zealand immigration advisor. Today I'm going to talk about agents and consultants and advisors like myself, and why there are different kinds of people and who you must choose to work with. Now, question number one: is there a need for an agent? Is there a need for a consultant? Is there a need for an advisor? Well, my honest answer, and not from an angle of getting more business for my company, is yes. I think it is a very important and complex process, and I think it is very, very important that you take professional help. The example I normally tend to give about this is, if you get caught for some criminal act and you want to defend yourself in a court of law, you will go to a lawyer and you'll pay money and you will get professional advice because you want to get out of that spot of trouble that you're in. So similarly, a visa application is perhaps a very, very crucial moment in your life, and you want to make sure that there is a professional who is taking care of this. So I would strongly advise and say, yes, you should consider going to an agent or an advisor or a consultant. Now, coming to what kind of a company you must approach or what kind of an individual you must approach, I'm going to shed some light on the different kinds of people. Now, there are two kinds of people who are coming to New Zealand primarily. One is people who are able to get the required number of points and make a direct skilled migrant application and reach here, and they take the help of advisors. And then there is another type of person who's coming to New Zealand. These are the international students who are coming here in the hope that they will complete their studies, get their post-study work visa, find employment, and then eventually go on to get a resident visa as well. Now, both these kinds of people are definitely approaching advisors or agents to help them in their applications to New Zealand. Now, as far as the skilled migrant category applicants are concerned, if they are going to take the help of somebody, then they absolutely must go only to a licensed immigration advisor. That is the law. If you make an application through a person who is not a licensed immigration advisor, and if the immigration department of New Zealand comes to know of it, I can tell you that they will summarily reject that application and tell you, sorry, you used an unlicensed person. But in this law called the Immigration Advisors Licensing Act of New Zealand, what is exempted is people who are providing advice about student visas and who are not in New Zealand. So it is only offshore advisors who are not here in New Zealand who can provide advice to only student visa applicants about how they can make that application to come and study in New Zealand. Now, it is my understanding that it is a very good move from the government of New Zealand to make certain type of advisors exempt, because international education is a massive industry for us here in this country. And there are thousands and thousands of students coming from countries like China and India and many other countries, and trying to license all these people who deal with student visa applications can be quite laborious. So I think it was a very conscious decision of the government to exempt the student visa advisors who are not in New Zealand and who are offshore out of this particular act called the Immigration Advisors Licensing Act. But the problem that is happening is these agents who are outside New Zealand and who are not licensed, they are not only providing advice on the student visa applications, but if that student is married and the spouse needs visa to accompany the student, or if that student's mother and father want to visit the student and come to this country, what is happening is these unlicensed agents are also providing advice on these type of visas as well, which is illegal, because the act clearly says, except for student visa applications and in countries other than New Zealand, those agents cannot provide advice on any other type of New Zealand visa. But obviously, because these agents are trying to protect their own business, they do not want to talk about the fact that they do not have a license. So what they try to do is they will tell, I'm coming across so many cases living in New Zealand where students, mostly girl students or women students have landed here on a student visa, and their husband's work visa or visit visa was also filed by the same agent who did the student visa. And when immigration came to know that the spouse work visa or visit visa was filed by the same agent who did the student visa, immigration is rejecting those cases. So what is happening is either the husband or the wife is arriving into New Zealand on a student visa, but the other person is being forced to stay back in their country because they are making this application. Now, I think students and their families are unfortunately going back to the same agent again, because there is not adequate knowledge about this law called the Immigration Advisors Licensing Act. Because they are not aware of this, they are going back to the same person who did their student visa. But these agents, instead of being honest and telling, hey, look, I cannot handle that particular kind of visa, what they're doing is they are saying, okay, give me an extra amount and I will also do your spouse visa. And in many instances, I have come across people who were coached by these agents to say, if immigration officer calls you, tell them I did the application myself. So it is becoming a very murky situation where if it can very easily be addressed, where these unlicensed agents can say, hey, look, I cannot do that. Either you do it yourself or please go to one licensed immigration advisor and they will take care of this. But to protect their own interests, they are not doing it. So my advice to people who are coming here, if you are a student who is coming here, and if you are single, and if you're confident in the ability of that agent who is dealing with your application to help you get your student visa, please take the help of that person. But otherwise, if you're not certain and you want to have a professional take a look at it, then you must approach a licensed immigration advisor like myself or the number of other licensed immigration advisors who are out there in the, in different parts of the world. For anybody who is looking for a New Zealand visa, which is a non-student visa, you absolutely must go only to a licensed immigration advisor. Otherwise, you risk the chance that your visa application will be rejected by Immigration New Zealand. I also urge students to be very, very careful about the agents that they use, because a lot of these agents are very unprofessional. These guys cannot even form proper sentences in English. These guys have very, very bad work ethics. They have terrible, communication methodologies and things like that. Be very, very careful, because it has become a bit of a murky industry. In fact, I think it's an understatement. I think it has already become a very murky industry, and people are telling students to indulge in all kinds of fraud, including putting fake loan letters and fake work experience letters. And I think the fraud has now reached a level of such magnitude that where imposters are taking phone calls on behalf of students from immigration officers. So it's becoming, and I think the government is keeping a very, very close eye on that. So you need to be careful, because you might think, oh, this guy helped me to come to New Zealand by using a fake document, but you are liable for deportation at any time it comes to know that your visa was granted erroneously because you used a fake document or you did a fake interview. The government has the right, has the power to get hold of you and ask you to leave the country or forcibly deport you as well. So be very careful. I think it's a safer bet for all of you, and a safer route for all of you, just to approach a licensed immigration advisor like myself, or some of my other colleagues who are also licensed, and take their help. Because when you come as a student, there is no fee involved to pay an advisor, because the institutions compensate us for doing the recruitment activity on their behalf. So you are not losing anything by coming to a licensed immigration advisor. Do not be under the impression that we are going to charge you money if you're going to come as a student. We might charge some fees if you have a previous visa rejection and it is a complex case and involves our time and effort, then definitely you will need to pay us, because you also need to appreciate the fact that we are putting in a time and effort for a case which has already been rejected by immigration department before. So there is a certain amount of extra effort in applications like that. But otherwise, if you're a clean student visa applicant with no baggage before, like having a visa rejection, just approach an a licensed immigration advisor, and we will take care of it. Why? Because we are also bound by a code of conduct. And if you're unhappy about some of the service that you have received, or if you're unhappy about any particular aspect, actually can reach out to us and say, hello, but I'm not happy at the way you dealt with us, and we are supposed to resolve that issue with you. If you're not happy with the resolution we provide, then you can also write to the Immigration Advisors Authority and say, I'm not happy with this particular advisor, so can you help me? And if that still doesn't happen, you can go upwards and make a complaint to the tribunal as well. So there is accountability when you work with a licensed immigration advisor. So be very, very careful. My advice, choose a licensed immigration advisor. Through this video, I'm also trying to spread information and knowledge about the Immigration Advisors Licensing Act. And I hope all of you young people who are trying to make this beautiful country your home will take advantage of this huge army of licensed immigration advisors like myself who are out there to help you. So I hope I made it clear about what kind of an advisor you should be seeking, and I wish you all the very best.